This is a weather update.
At 1 o'clock, I'm Storm Team 4's Dave Price with a look at what's happening now and what we expect through the rest of the day as sloppy weather rolls through our region. We still do have a winter storm warning up to the north and west at the higher elevations, where we could see upwards of 5 to 8 inches of snow. For areas closer to the city but still outside the metro area, winter weather advisory in effect. Keep in mind, as we take a look at the Ulster-Sullivan border right now, this is the setup which we were anticipating for accumulating snow, which you see behind me. 28 degrees, a southwest wind at 5 miles per hour. What's going to change as the day progresses is these temperatures are going to rise and the winds are going to pick up as well, becoming gusty as we head into the evening. A low cloud deck right now over the city, but the temperature is not cooperating for any accumulating snow at all, let alone snow falling from the sky. Winds calm right now in Central Park, but also we're anticipating gusty conditions later on during the day. But we do have, through the afternoon, increasing chances of heavier rain coming in our direction and a rising thermometer, which will get close to 50 degrees as we head into the mid portion of the evening. Winds will be sustained into the 20s and gusts could be going as high as 30 to 40 miles per hour, even 50 miles per hour as we head out to the east through Long Island and coastal Connecticut, down the Jersey Shore as well. Into the early morning hours tomorrow, we're still holding on to rather warm temperatures as the rain begins to depart out of our region, pushing off the east end of Long Island in the early morning. A live look at our radar picture right now. We have 30 degrees in Monticello, but already in Poughkeepsie, we're at 36 degrees. These numbers, which are going to rise, are going to continue to diminish the possibility of significant snowfall totals. Feels like numbers out in the 30s through parts of Long Island, and as we take a look at what we're expecting through the region, it's going to be this area primarily to the north and west where we're anticipating the greatest snowfall potential, none in the city. In just a few moments, we're going to be back on our live streaming channels with what we expect for the rest of the day. Violetta Yas and I are going to join you, and we'll give you all the information you need to know on the weather, which will be through the afternoon. Now we return you to our regularly scheduled broadcasting on WNBC. We want to welcome you back and say hello to all of our online and streaming viewers. At 1:02, I'm Storm Team 4's Dave Price.
And I'm Storm Team 4's Violetta Yas. It has been a messy day across the board, both here and elsewhere in the country. Oklahoma was actually stocked by this same system just yesterday. Warnings were issued for a large part of the state and lasted through this morning. Some school districts have had students on remote learning today to keep families off the roads. This is what Chicago looked like early this morning. Not the most pleasant bike ride to work. The snow is expected to continue there right through the day as well. And that's the high-pitched whistle of a tornado blowing through Pasadena, Texas. This just southeast of Houston. The tornado touched down during a round of severe thunderstorms. Several buildings were damaged and power lines were also pulled down. Now, of course, we also need to take a look at what's going on here locally, where we've seen snow, where we've seen rain, and what the radar looks like right now. You can see clearly see our system here on our radar network. The snow area extending quite far from around Chicago on east into the interior northeast, with, of course, our rain area to the south. Now, we were talking about this yesterday, how some areas were going to see snow, others were going to see rain. Now, far to the north and west out toward the Rondout Valley School District, you started the day with some snowflakes. Dry to start. We're going to pause this right around 9:45 in the morning. You can start to see those drops accumulating there on the lens, and then snow starting to accumulate here on that field. So areas north and west seeing that snow nice and early. This the same for those of you out toward Claryville. Here's what it looks like right now. A nice blanket of snow, not only out toward the field, but you can see some accumulation on the fence there as well. Now let's take a closer look at what we're seeing locally on our radar picture. Snow continues to the north. Again, this is generally light at the moment. The temperatures, of course, are going to play a big role in what we see here in the city and elsewhere through the course of the afternoon. Far to the north and west, you can see those temperatures in the mid-30s from Sussex all the way up toward Poughkeepsie. This is the area where it's more likely that we continue to see snow for a couple of more hours. Monticello right now, 30 degrees, so a couple of degrees below freezing, but just over toward Poughkeepsie already at 36. So this is the issue. Temperatures are actually going to be rising as we head through the course of the afternoon. So even a lot of these areas that are seeing the snow to start, we'll start to see that transition over to rain as we head into the evening hours. But right now, across 87 down toward 84 as well, we're generally seeing light snow here to the north and west of the city. Now, in and around the city, again, temperature is a big problem. We're at 40 degrees already in Central Park, even White Plains, 38 degrees at this hour, Newark 41. So we're mostly just getting rain right now, locally heavy in some spots where you see that yellow shading is where we're seeing some higher intensity. Now, pulling this back out just a little bit, you can see the colder temperatures are confined to areas north and west. Scranton, Pennsylvania, 32 degrees right now. Allentown also still right at the freezing mark. Sussex, New Jersey already at 36. So again, probably not going to be seeing the snow continue for too much longer here across interior sections of New Jersey. It'll continue a little longer there further to the north and west. Again, temperatures are critical here in the upper 20s in places like Claryville. We already saw some of that accumulating snow. Kingston, though, already at 36. Liberty, 28 degrees. Woodridge, 32, Middletown 34, Newburgh 34 as well. And you can see that gradual increase from north to south as you cross over the region. Peekskill 38 degrees right now, and more toward parts of New Jersey. Those temperatures are also for the most part above freezing as well. Some of that snow, or the intensity rather, to still allow for some snow to develop, even with temperatures slightly above the freezing mark. But once you start to get into the upper 30s, it certainly gets much harder. Passaic at 39 right now, Livingston, New Jersey at 37. And here across the immediate metro area, we're looking at 39 degrees in Fort Lee, Hoboken 40 degrees. LaGuardia at 41 degrees right now, and City Island up to 39. And again, these temperatures are increasing through the course of the day. A lot of that cold air really confined to areas far to the north and west across the nation's midsection here. North central tier of the country seeing brutal cold right now. Sioux Falls 14 degrees, Kansas City 34. Chicago even just above the freezing mark at this hour. So you can see that really only extends across the interior section of the northeastern U.S. In terms of what we can expect through the afternoon, our advisories still in place here from Northwestern New Jersey right into parts of the Hudson Valley and parts of Connecticut as well. Winter storm warning, though, still in effect further to the north there across parts of Ulster and Sullivan counties. That is, of course, where we're seeing at least the potential for some higher amounts of accumulating snow. So expecting that travel to be difficult right through the afternoon and evening. Now, whether it's because of snow or rain, that's going to, of course, depend on where you live exactly. Our current snow depth, of course, is looking pretty wimpy, especially compared to areas in the northwest. Here locally, you got to go pretty far north and west of the city to see any of that snow depth across interior New Jersey and parts of the Hudson Valley as well. So a tricky day for travel, whether it be because of rain or snow. Let's head over to Dave Price for a closer look at what we can expect here over the next couple of hours.
All right,
Dave?
Vi, talk about pretty wimpy. That's exactly what we have in the city. There is no snow. There has been no snow. And now we're going to have to wait at least into the middle of the week next week for the next possibility. So if you're watching us and seeing snow out your window, you're probably well outside the city. But for most of us down the shore, across the island, coastal Connecticut, and certainly within the 5 boroughs, it's wet weather that we're going to see. Some of this rain could be heavy at times, and that has implications as well. It's not a free ride for us with just a rainy day. We're going to see a lot of rain, 1 to 2 inches expected, and that has flooding implications. Now, add to that the fact that winds are going to be kicking up through the afternoon into the evening, sustained in the 20s, gusting into the 50s in parts of the area, and that's going to provide its own travel complications. So that's what's ahead as we head through the rest of the day. Let's take a look as we roll back about 3 hours and wind ourselves to the current. It's still plenty of snowfall up to the areas to the far north and west, and even as you push down to the south, you may see some snowflakes falling, but the closer you get to the city, the less likely it is that there'll be any accumulation because the air temperature is too warm, and there's not a great deal of difference between air temperature and surface temperature right now. So if your thermometer reads above 32 degrees, chances are ground temperatures are going to be right around that. So let's look at the city in that last frame. It's all rain at this point, stretching out to the island and certainly down the shore. We're going to zoom in just a little little bit right now and take a look. So let's look at our major roadways. There's 95 right now. There's 287 running to the northeast, and there is 78, which is running out to the west. I think most of us, until we get out into, around Livingston and Chatham, where you may see over into Morristown, where you may see some snowflakes flying, most of us are looking at solid rain. And even in this area, as you're traversing 80, until you get it further out west, you're looking at snow, which is pretty much going to melt on contact. The temperatures just don't support it right now. Look where we are in the city at this hour. Temperature now 40 degrees. Let's kind of take a look. We may see a little bit of that kind of sloppy mix as we head 87 through and up through Westchester, in and around White Plains and Yonkers, right by the raceway. You could see a little bit of that mix. Clarkstown, as we head over the river and into Rockland County. Ramapo, and in some of the higher elevations, you may see a little bit of the snowflakes flying. But again, check the temperature and check your front lawn. Maybe on the lawn, a little bit of something, but for the most part, we're talking about accumulations which are going to be insignificant, and in and around the city, just nothing. Down the shore, look at the temperatures. 43 in Belmar, mid 40s in Toms River already. Thermometer climbing from there. And in Poughkeepsie, we're talking about numbers which are above the freezing mark and continuing to rise. Hold right here. 5:30 p.m. 30 degrees in Monticello. Still, that's where we're going to see that snow. That's where we're going to see the mixed precip and icy conditions, maybe a little bit of an icy coat. As we head, though, to Dutchess County, we're still in the mid 30s, and even though we could see some isolated areas where we see heavy snow for short periods of time, I just don't think we're going to see the temperatures to support the most significant accumulation, which is still going to be up in this area as we head out Ulster, Sullivan County, and into the highest elevations. Now, we get to about 8:30. Look at all the numbers. Closer to 40 degrees in Poughkeepsie, all rain in White Plains. And by the way, some of this heavy at times, we could see thunder along with this. And keep in mind, the winds are going to be gusting later on today, upwards into the 30s and 40s, close to 50 miles per hour, out to the east end of Long Island, coastal Connecticut, and down the shore. So sloppy weather for all of us in the 5 by. It's not the snow, it's the rain. The snow is limited to areas well outside the city. That's where our concerns are, right around that winter storm area that we highlighted earlier. Question a lot of people are asking is, where's the snow? How much of a deficit are we in, and why is this all happening? Yeah, for snow lovers, it's really been a rough go all winter, especially in and around the city. We've been talking about this a lot, right? When are we going to get that first measurable snow? We are so behind, but let's take a look at exactly where we are and actually what is normal for this time of year. And as far as Central Park goes, our actual snowfall to date, 0. Big old goose egg there. Normally by this time of year, we are just under 12 inches of snow. LaGuardia Airport, just under a ½ inch. We'll give you that season to date. Meanwhile, normal, more or less the same, just under 12 inches. JFK, 0. Normally would have just over 10 inches of snow at this point. Newark Airport, again, 1/10 or 100th of an inch. Very, very, very little snowfall across the region. That includes Newark Airport, Islip, and Bridgeport as well. Really no one over an inch of snow at this point, and we are coming up on February. So it just really is feeling very strange, I think. Whether you're a snow lover or not, we can all agree it feels a little bit strange when we're getting such mild temperatures and really no snow, at least up until this point. So where do we rank here in the longest stretches between measurable snow? Well, right now we are in second place at 321 days since our last measurable snow. By the end of today, that number is likely to increase again. It's going to be very difficult to get any snow in the city as far as today goes, with those temperatures already in the low 40s in and around the immediate metro area. And you can sort of see more or less how much more time we have to not set the record for number one. 332 days, so about 10 days out. So within the range of our 10-day forecast. So we're going to be watching that, of course, quickly, or we're going to be watching that through the next couple of days to make sure, hopefully, that we don't set that number one record. Now, our latest first measurable snow, January 29th.
That is this Sunday. Of course, this storm today was really our main opportunity to not set that record. So right now we are in second place for latest first measurable snow. Again, we got to wait until that climatology report comes out. But for the moment, it is not looking likely that we'll get much measurable snow in the city, at least in Central Park, as we head into this afternoon. So this number, again, expected to climb to January 25th by day's end. And of course, we'll stay on top of that for you right through the course of the afternoon. And in terms of what we've seen here over the last couple of years, or what is normal when we typically do get our first measurable snow, on average, it's December 7th. We blew right past that. The earliest on record is October 15th. So certainly didn't happen this year. January 29th. We just discussed is currently the latest on record, although that is also in jeopardy because once we get past today, we're really not seeing any additional opportunities to get that snow in the city or really elsewhere for that matter. Now, when did it happen last winter? December 23rd, right before Christmas. It wasn't much, but we did get some measurable snow there leading into the holiday. Unfortunately, that didn't happen for us this year either. And again, the current snow depth looking pretty flimsy out east, but it has just been incredible out west. The cold and the snow has really been confined here to areas to the north and west, out across the Sierra Nevada, the Rockies, extending all the way down here into Wyoming and Colorado. Some okay snow cover up across the north central U.S. and the upper Midwest. But again, here locally, we've really been struggling. And even the areas that typically do get higher amounts of accumulating snow, the higher elevations up toward the Catskills and upstate New York, not really seeing a whole lot. You can see some of our higher amounts toward Liberty, parts of Ulster and Sullivan counties. 8 to 12 inches might sound like a lot to you, but for those areas, it's really not too much. And look at that drop off, how quickly the amounts, or the snow depth rather, just diminishes to literally nothing in and around the city. So again, it's we've been waiting for this quite a bit. Although we haven't seen much snow, we have had a decent amount of rain. If we didn't have this rain happening, we'd probably be talking about a drought situation. But we've been relatively active in the rain department since December 1st. Just under 9 inches of rain that season to date for Central Park, and that is above normal. So thankfully, even though we're not getting these high snow amounts, or really not getting any snow for that matter, we are seeing a decent amount of rain, and that of course is important. Again, whether you're a snow lover or a snow hater, it is important that we do see that precipitation. With the rain possibly increasing in intensity here through the afternoon and evening, I did want to remind you that we do have that flood threat for the afternoon. That rain is going to be heavy at times. So even though we won't be getting in on that snow right along that I-95 corridor, this, of course, is going to cause some difficult travel here across New Jersey into the immediate metro area, across the boroughs, out toward Long Island, and even extending north into parts of Connecticut. That's where we're seeing that potential flood threat right through the course of the afternoon. So you definitely want to make sure you're giving yourself some time to get around here through the remainder of the day. That rain heavy at times, and also expecting some gusty winds. So that, of course, is going to complicate things as people are headed home from work, Dave.
Yeah, Vi, I think the moral of the story is if you're looking for significant snow to see, you're going to want to hop on 17 West and head on into the Catskills, and that's where you may find it. For the rest of us, we have a very rainy day. Thunderstorms potentially in the afternoon. We're going to have winds kicking up as well across the island. We could see gusts up to 50 miles per hour down the shore, across the island, and through sections of coastal Connecticut. That's what we're watching for as we head closer to the city. And keep in mind, there's still a coastal flood threat as well. In addition to the rain, which could be as much as 2 inches in and around the metro area, we're watching for astronomical high tide and the winds, the onshore winds playing a role as well. We could see up to 2 feet of inundation. We'll watch for that. And again, we'll keep our eyes on that, up to a foot of inundation as we head down to the south and through sections of Suffolk County as well. In the meantime, rainy, soggy, windy mess of a day ahead with snow to the north and west. That's what you need to know right now. We're going to have live Storm Team 4 updates at the top of the 2 p.m. hour and the 3 p.m. hour. And then don't forget, we'll have the very latest forecast on News 4 at 4. And you can always go to NBCNewYork.com or the News 4 app. In the meantime, I'm Storm Team 4's Dave Price for Violetta Yas and the entire Storm Team. Stay safe and have a great afternoon.